Hello and welcome to the Sports Show with Bob Spino, where Robert and Tony Spino will once again be joining us to discuss that time of year where the conclusion of the NCAA tournament is bittersweetly upon us, and that's the Final Four. And I think you can't get much more chalkboard in terms of the Final Four slate
Hey, Rob.
that we have. And Robert and Tony have joined us. What say you, gentlemen? Do you agree? This is about as chalkboard of a Final Four slate as we've seen in a while.
Chalkboard isn't, except UCLA ain't there. You talking about the Blue Bloods?
Blue Bloods, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, UCLA should have won that darn game. They were right down to the end. It went, and they actually blew it in the last minute and a half, which, but those four teams really, I mean, they've won their share. You look really Florida eyes down there with the hat and all that.
Right? Yeah, I'm doing the since I forgot to bring my Syracuse hat, I got to do the vacay look for the Final Four.
Yeah,
since none of our teams are in it and we're not going to win the pools, I might as well just throw in the towel and go on the beach.
Right. That's not a bad idea.
The mystery of how Villanova is this dominant Northeast power now. It's unbelievable.
Yes, I know. Well, you know what? They got a great coach. So
top-notch coach.
Yeah, they do. And they got a little break along the way. I mean, I don't know if they really put anybody that really hard, but I think they're out now. I mean, I think Kansas is going to beat them, and they lost one of their best players. He tore his knee. So that doesn't look good,
Kansas, you said Kansas lost one of their best players.
Villanova did.
Oh, Villanova did. Yes, I did know that. What's his name? Moore is his name?
I think. He's out.
Yeah, that was a big loss at the end of that game.
Who do you think is going to win, Rob?
I don't know. Kansas looks pretty powerful. I mean, they're big and fast. I don't know if they handle both Houston and then Miami in that second half.
Right.
I do believe Duke is going to beat North Carolina in this Final Four matchup.
Okay. I'm sure Anthony believes that too. Right, Anthony?
But we still don't hear you, Tony. So
Oh, there we go.
We got him back? We got him?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Oh, there you are. Now we got you.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I couldn't even hear you. So,
okay.
Oh, go ahead.
We were just talking about who we think is going to win, and Rob asked you the question about the Blue Bloods being there -1. Of course, UCLA. But what do you think? Who do you think is going to win?
Well, first of all, you have 4 blue blood teams in this, and you have 3 really proven really good coaches. You have 1 legendary coach. And then you have a coach that's unproven. So I think Duke is going to win against North Carolina for 2 reasons. 1, they have a better coach. 2, the kids have a chip on their shoulder, and they have finally grown up from being freshmen to understanding what this takes to win this tournament and to have their coach go off in the sunset like it should have happened at home at Duke against North Carolina. The one thing I'll say that there was too much festivity in that game, too much. I don't believe Coach K was even in the right mindset to coach that game. So I think North Carolina came in with a chip on their shoulder because they got blown out the first time by Duke. I think changing their guard from 2 guard to the 1 guard really made a big difference for North Carolina. Duke's 4-point favorite, and I believe Duke's going to win the game. I believe that Villanova is going to take the air out of the ball. Kansas is 4-point favorite. Losing that player when they weren't deep anyway, they're going to really have to play a half-court slow-down game to even be in Villanova can beat Kansas if they shut down Remy, the point guard. If they shut his game down, slow the ball down, they still have a chance because there's two great coaches there. In my mind, Jay Wright's going to take over for Mike Krzyzewski. If he stays at Villanova for a long time, he is the next great coach. Bill Self's a great coach, but Jay Wright is even a better coach. This guy's been in 4 Final Fours in the last 6 years. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, when you think about it, when he's got a small school like Villanova is, but they've always had a great tradition of basketball tradition at Villanova. I think, and if Villanova beats Kansas, Duke is going to blow them right out of the building.
Right. What do you think about if Kansas wins? And I think they're gonna.
I think it's going to be a lot tougher, but here again, I think if they shut down Remy and they're not shooting well, Duke will beat them. Duke's going to have a little harder time going inside on them, but if they can get them in foul trouble and slow down Remy, Duke can win the whole thing. I'm going with Duke for a couple of reasons to win it all. One,
love him.
That I really like Coach K. I told him in 1995 that he was the greatest coach, with no disrespect to anyone else. And we were in the Final Four that year. In between games, I was invited up to the booth with Quinn Buckner, who was calling the game. And he introduced me to Mike, and it was the first time I met him. And I said to him, with no disrespect to anyone else, you are the greatest coach I've seen since John Wooden. And that was in 1995. Okay. And he didn't let me down. I mean, he didn't let me down on that comment. So, and I think for sentimental reasons, everybody in America wants to see this guy go out on top. 42 years in one place, no one,
including the rest. They want to see
no one's ever going to do that again. And Rob, I have to apologize to you and Bob for making terrible picks on my brackets.
Awful picks.
Just terrible. But the committee always looks good in the end because you always have blue bloods in the Final Four. I mean, you've got a 1, 2 twos, and an 8, and that 8, if would have started out and had a better season early, they would have been a higher seed. So, okay, they're an 8 seed, but they're a really good 8 seed because of talent they got. North Carolina.
Yeah, UNC returned to being UNC about 7 weeks ago.
Yes, Rob, absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. And like I said, they made a change in moving that 2 guard to the 1 guard, and that guy turned that whole team around. And Coach Wooden always told me guards, he believed in guards more than centers. I used to always say, yes, but I always believe in senior leadership,
Centers are important too. They are.
And Coach Wooden always told me by the time the end of the season comes, good freshmen are no longer freshmen. Right. And that's what you're seeing with Duke right now. And here again,
I think Duke has the most talented team of the 4 teams too.
Yeah. I mean, I think this kid Williams has done a marvelous job down low. He's not looking to score, but he's rebounding, blocking shots, really helping them around the rim. I think this kid Roach, the guard, has really stepped up. And then the other 2 freshmen are outstanding, and they've been outstanding all year. I just can't see them having another bad game. These kids are playing to let their coach go out on top like he deserves. So,
well, it seems like they've really stepped it up in the last couple of games. They know they're on a mission, and each game they're getting more confident and harder to beat. The refs helping them a little bit, but they're playing really well, in fairness to them.
You always blame the refs and Mike Krzyzewski.
Rob, you want to tell them?
Put your Bruin hat on, will you?
I'll just say that I do believe there is a little bit of favoritism when it comes to Duke in the officiating lane. Having seen Syracuse play Duke over the years, there's a reason Coach Boeheim threw his jacket off and stormed the court of the first season of the ACC. Duke is always going to get the benefit of doubt, and I expect nothing less in the Final Four.
And in my mind right now, it's deserving, well deserved. So if they
nothing's deserved like that, because that's not fair. No. I don't agree with that. But you know what? Now you want to defend Wooden a little bit because you said the best since Wooden, but you told me on the phone he's not Wooden. So you want to say that for the benefit of Coach?
Absolutely. I mean, what Coach Wooden did, and Coach Wooden be the first one to tell you you can't compare eras because things change. And now, I told John Thompson when we were hosting the regionals in Pauley Pavilion, we were not in the tournament, and I went up to John. I said, John, today you have to win your one close or bad game because you're not going to go through this tournament. It's 6 games, and you're not going to blow out teams by 20 points every game. Coach Wooden only had to win 4 games. He did it. He won 7 years in a row, but he only had to win 4. There was no 3-point shot. There was no shot clock. It was a different era. So you really can't compare, but you also can't compare what he did to anyone else because what he did was phenomenal. He and I used to go back and forth about, I want to have talent. I want to have talent. And he was really big on guards, but I always said, Coach, in every one of those teams that won national championships, you had senior leadership. Mm-hmm. And I believe in 95 when we won, I'm not so sure we were the best team in the country, although we went into tournament number 1 overall. But we had 3 seniors. We had a 5th-year senior in Ed O'Bannon. We had George Zedek was a senior center. And our point guard, Tyus Edney, was a senior. We didn't have Tyus in the last game, but other players stepped up. But we had senior leadership to get us that far. And I think senior leadership is really important. And I know Remy for Kansas is, I think, a 4th or 5th-year senior. He's been at 2 schools. He's an outstanding player. But if Villanova can shut him down, they can beat Kansas. And if Duke gets him, and that's what Duke's going to have to do, they're going to have to shut down Remy and then figure out a way to go inside to beat Kansas because Kansas is really big. And they're deep. They're a very deep team. But saying all that, Rob, I could be wrong again, and Villanova could win the whole thing,
Well, don't be too hard on yourself, Tony. You did publicly on this show pick half of the Final Four accurately with Arizona and Duke in there. I have the added bonus of picking Kansas in there, but if you can get half the Final Four, I think you did okay. Really, for Bob and I in our private pools, it was Baylor and Arizona that just doomed us. Yeah. And we didn't get enough. And Purdue losing that game, not making the Elite Eight, that hurt us, Bob. Houston just crushed us in both ways, beating Arizona and then losing the next game to Kansas. That hurt us. So, but again, we both got at least one Final Four pick. All 3 of us actually got at least one Final Four pick.
You know what? We got the most picks right in the darn pool, and we still didn't win. How does that happen?
We did. We no matter what happens in our private pool, we will finish with the most correct picks. Yeah. But the way the point system works, you have to get more picks in the successive rounds as opposed to just the first 2 rounds.
Right.
I've been giving this tournament, this bracket thing, a lot of thought here. And I think if you focus on who's going to be the Final Four teams and then start looking at the other rounds, the early rounds, and pick your upsets. Because in the end, once you get to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the cream of the crop is going to rise. And I have to agree with you, Rob. The Big Ten is soft, very soft. In one day, they had 5 teams lose in one day, and no conference should have 9 teams in it. No, I think there There should be a cutoff. There should be a cutoff by the committee that no conference is getting more than 5 teams in it, and that it's going to open up and let's say the Dayton Flyers should have been in it. There's a couple other teams. And then here again, I'm going to harp on Houston because that guy cannot coach. I call out coaches. I'm really hard on coaches. I make a lot of my picks on who the better coach is. I was shocked Michigan won 2 games. I was even shocked that they were even in the tournament. They shouldn't have even gotten in. And here again, 9 teams in one conference.
Well,
I think there's a lot of mid-major conferences that deserve 2 teams or 3 teams. I really do.
Well, you know what, Rob and I told you in the beginning, the Big Ten hasn't been doing good in a long time. And you said to us, well, that was in years past, but that's been the one consistent. They're still not doing good. It hasn't changed. They're overrated. Am I right, Rob?
They haven't won a title, I believe, in 22 years, Michigan State, I think. And this year's tournament, they only had 2 teams get out of the first weekend.
Right.
One was completely unexpected, and then Purdue lost the 15 seed.
Yeah.
You know what? I was talking to my friend the other day, and he goes, you could put this on your show. And he literally, from 1995, said he went over the coaches that won the national title. And like every single one, but maybe Kevin Ollie was like a legend. So, he was totally right. And he was just naming names that was either Self or Kay or Dean Smith or Roy Williams. Herrick was a good coach. Lute Olson won the 1 year. Tubby Smith. And he went all the way down. And that kind of, points out what Anth was saying all along. The coaches really are important. How far you go.
Rob, when you really come down to this Final Four, you have 3 really great. Well, I'll say you have 3 really, really top coaches that are great. Being Mike Krzyzewski he's over the top in my mind. Okay, he's the best of the 3. Jay Wright, in my mind, is going to take over for Mike Krzyzewski. Bill Self is an outstanding coach, really good coach every year. I mean, that guy won the Big 12. He won that conference like 14 years in a row. I mean, he's really, really a great coach. Coach Wooden told me he went down and saw him coach at Tulsa and said that guy is outstanding coach. I believe he left Tulsa and went to Illinois for a day and then jumped ship because Kansas opened up and took the Kansas job because you know what? You're going to have a lot more success in a basketball history school than you would at Illinois when you got Mike Krzyzewski coming into Chicago, taking the best players at Duke. Okay. Now that might change with Mike retiring in the Chicago, Illinois. And that coach, Brad Underwood, is an excellent coach also. And that's why I do a lot of my picks on who can coach. I know who can recruit and who can cheat and get the best players, but I know who can't coach. It's one thing I've been around. When you're around the greatest coach that ever lived, and as much time as I spent with him, I go, not only working under him, why he was actually doing it, but taking care of him for 35 years and living with him for his last 3 years of his life, he told me who can coach and who can't coach. And that's why I do a lot of my picks. And it's probably hurt me in my picks, but because some of those guys will surprise me and go a couple of rounds. But in the end, are they there? No, they're not there. So if you can really start, when you start thinking about your bracket for next year, think about the Blue Bloods and the best coaches who are going to be at the Final Four, and then start making your picks in the Sweet 16, in the 32s and the 64s and the 68s. You know what? And you might wind up being a little more successful. I'm just looking at it from the inside because I always looked at picking from the outside and not going all the way to the end. from now, maybe next year I'll go to the end and say, okay, who's the most likely 4 teams that are going to, win? And here again, Arizona, I thought was the best team all year, but I wasn't convinced he was a great coach because he's never been there. This is his first year coaching. He did a fantastic job, but the guy hasn't proved to me, being the assistant at Gonzaga and now at Arizona, they laid an egg in their last 2 games. They were lucky to get past that game. They almost lost.
Yeah, they should have lost to TCU. The tournament, in my opinion, does reveal the best conference. Luck is at play, and luck has a role, but still, when you got 2 teams in the Final Four, you've proven me completely wrong, because I, for one, fell into the trap I try to avoid and not giving November and December so much emphasis. And the Pac-12 just wasn't that great. USC, just bounced quick, just like that. Right. Arizona should have lost the second game, and UCLA, they should have beat UNC. Yeah. They did. They should have, but it didn't happen. And the Big Ten, 2 teams in the Sweet 16, and the ACC had 3 teams in the Elite 8. So I don't think you can really, you can't emphasize November and December as much as we do. But that's what they use to decide the number of bids in March.
Yeah, I agree, Rob. And, I would love to be someone who could sit in the committee's room, not being a voice, which would be hard for me, but just sitting there and trying to watch how they figure out who they're putting in this tournament and why they're putting them in, just listening to the conversations. I would love to be just an innocent bystander, or maybe even a fly on the wall, and just being in there just to see how they determine this, and here again, I argue this point: the conference winner should get the automatic bid. What the hell do you play all year for?
Yeah,
you should
totally.
The conference winner should get the automatic bid, and then you choose your at-large bids from the conference tournament. Okay, you got the conference tournament. Say a team like Virginia Tech wins that. Okay, now you take a hard look at them. Do they still deserve to be in it or not? And then where do you seat them? And maybe there should be a whole week of playing games. Maybe there should be more teams given a chance.
Well, the thing about the conference tournament, a team can get hot for a week. That's not that good, and get in. And that's not fair, because the regular season really determines how good or bad you are. 1 week of getting hot doesn't mean anything. Being a Met fan, I know that they can get hot for a week, and for years they stunk, but they would be world beaters for that week. It's just, it's not fair. And I've said it a long time ago. It twists and messes up, the regular season. It just isn't right. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. It's just, there's too many teams making playoffs now. There's a conference tournament that shouldn't be in the NCAA. And it's really blurring the lines, because and then people get, because everybody's hype and they're over emotional, especially fans. And they think, oh, we're great. And then, that tournament comes, the big tournament, and out they go. And that's it.
Well, a good example this year was Virginia Tech. How far did they go,
right.
Rob?
Right.
Exactly. They got hot. I saw them play. I wasn't ecstatic about them, but yeah, they caught fire. And the thing is, I'm in total agreement with both of you. Emphasis definitely needs to be placed on the regular season conference winner. You played all those games, 20 something games. That should be the highest honor and the automatic bid. And if they did that, it would in no way diminish the conference tournaments. They would still be exciting, fun, and they would still serve as a resume builder for the teams fighting for at-larges. It's not like it would take them down even a peg. They would still be great.
Well, and I first of all, I got to say, I love your background. I love your
I'm a fan too.
Is that real?
No, this is a virtual background. That's real.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know what, Rob? And the other thing is, the reason why they do it for money, obviously everything's revolved around money, but the other thing is, if a team wins the conference all year and they get the automatic bid, they think that team won't play as hard in the conference tournament, so they can get another team in their league in it. You know, and I understand that philosophy, but, you know, and I understand you can look at a schedule during the year and you can look at somebody's schedule and say, that game, this team who's going to win the conference is going to go to that school and lose that game because you know how big that game is. Okay. How many teams go undefeated during the conference season? Even the team who wins the league at 18-2, you know, 17-1, you know what? They're deserving of the automatic bid. And if they want to kick up their heels in the conference tournament and go, well, we're in, so we're not worried, that's fine. That's deserving. That's what they deserve because that's how hard they work. It is very hard to go all season and win the conference in any conference. It doesn't matter whether you're in the ACC, in the Pac Week 12, you know, if you're in the American Conference or you're in the WCC, you know, it doesn't matter. You should get the automatic bid for the hard work in the long season. It's like, and I'll say one more thing. If you win the conference all year, that coach should be the conference. He should be the conference coach of the year, in my mind.
Right.
I don't care if a guy was 3-25 the year before, and this year he was, you know, 17-5. No, 17-5 is a good turnaround. Okay, from the year before, but he doesn't deserve to be the coach of the year in the conference. You know, the guy who wins it should get it. You know,
that's it. Well, the NBA
wins something.
Yeah.
Well, but the NBA has always done that, even when you were in it. If a team was terrible the year before, and then all of a sudden next year they go 40-40, they're like, oh, he did a great job with nothing. So they would reward him with it. But you know what? Here's the thing about the regular season and the conference tournaments. If you think about it, the fact that the teams that won the conference tournaments that aren't good don't go very far proves they're really not good once the big tournament starts. That proves it right there because they probably shouldn't have been in it in the first place and they got hot at the right time. The team that is the best team all year, because the longer the schedule is, the more it's proven how good you are. That's the teams that should get in it. Well, and even the tournament bears that out, the big tournament.
And I agree. And Rob, there have been teams in these small conferences that are 1-14 in league and wind up winning their conference tournament and get into the NCAA tournament.
Well, the regular season winner misses out in those mid-major conferences. That's crazy.
Exactly. They miss out. And to me, there's got to be a cutoff with these big, and that's what they do with these super conferences. They're putting all these big schools in one conference, and then they're rewarding them by putting them all in the tournament, you know. And that's what they want to do in football, in college football, with the Southeast Conference and the ACC and the Pac-12. And they want to only have 3 or 4 major conferences, so all their teams can get into the playoffs. That's why they're talking about an 18 football playoff, a 16-team playoff. And I know we're not talking college football right now, but I just thought
sports show, Tony, talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, right.
You know, but you know, I mean, and that's what they're doing, and it's all driven by money. You know, and the more money, the more teams the conferences can get in, the more money they make. And then it's divided up among. I mean, do you realize the Southeast Conference in college football this year, each school netted $56 million each. And that's, wait a minute, and that's even if a team was 0-10 in football. Wow. It didn't matter. That school received $56 million.
So, yeah, I mean, that one check is bigger than how many schools' entire athletic department budget?
Exactly.
What are the lousy teams doing with the money is my question.
Cash and checks.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they're paying the bills that that they went out. I mean, you got to remember, they have travel, they have food, they have flights, they have, and that budget is not only for the men, but it's also, they have to make up for the losses of women's athletics. And so they have to balance that. And so that's where that money goes to those schools, And, I don't know if you know this, but the NCAA is a nonprofit organization. They receive all this money and then they divide it up among the conferences. And that's where that money goes, a lot of that money to the conferences. And it goes to the big conferences more than the small ones. That's why they don't want to cut off 9 teams from the Big Ten in college basketball. They want them all in there because that's going to draw more money. And, you and I, the three of us, we look at, picks and we look at schools and we look at who should be in and who's out. But we always forget behind the scenes, it's all driven by who's going to bring in the most money so we can divide up the money. We ain't worrying about the small schools. How many of the big schools do they put on probation? When you get a level 1 and a level 2 and a level 3 violation, how many of those schools is Kansas getting put on probation? They just came down a year ago. They're in the Final Four.
They're totally swept under the rug with the big boys.
Right. Exactly. And then they'll take a small school like Sam Houston State or Stephen F. Austin, and they'll penalize them forever.
Well, they're going to penalize Memphis now. That's for sure.
No.
You don't think so?
No, absolutely not. It'll be a slap on the wrist, or they'll ask the coach to leave and Larry Brown will take over.
I mean, the NCAA goes after low-hanging fruit. For instance, when the Syracuse athletic director had his secretary write a paper for our center, we self-reported and we got punished. We got sanctions and scholarship reductions. When North Carolina had fake transcripts and fake classes, nothing happened. Nothing. Did anything? I'm not aware of any sort of consequence to what happened at North Carolina.
No, and the professor who turned them all in, they just give her you resign and leave or we're going to kill you. They just give her giving her an offer. You can't refuse. You better leave or else. They probably put a gun to her head, basically, take that out of the Godfather movie. But anyway, nothing happened to them, Rob. Absolutely.
Nothing happened to them at all.
They're in the Final Four. Hello.
There they are. Exactly.
Yeah. They're in the Final Four.
It was out in the open completely. Everyone knows about it.
Sure.
Yeah. Apparently, Nolan Richardson of Arkansas, who was the former coach there, talked a lot of trash before the Duke game, saying, Coach K is great and all this, but this is going to be his last game. His run's over. And because we guard the 3 really tight. And in the first half, Arkansas, they didn't shoot well. They did guard the 3 really tight. But in the second half, Coach K heard about it and he just started pounding down low, and that was that. I didn't even know Richardson was still alive when I was first told this. But you know what? He should have kept his mouth shut because, Coach K is definitely going to adjust, and he did. And there's been a lot of adjusting by the good coaches in this tournament this year, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the ones who didn't make halftime adjustments lost the game.
Lost the games. Yeah. Lost the games.
Yeah. I think the Arkansas coach is a great cheerleader. I don't know how great a coach he is.
Right.
That seems to be the case in the SEC, Tony. You got a lot of cheerleading coaches, but they didn't really. They were hyped up this year, that conference, and they didn't do anything.
I picked Auburn to lose. I picked Tennessee to lose. I picked Kentucky to lose. I picked them to win their first game against St. Peter's. God bless St. Peter's, but I don't believe in Calipari as a coach. I believe him as a recruiter. But I don't believe him as a coach. And if it wasn't for Anthony Davis, his 10-year run at Kentucky would have been over.
He wouldn't have won at all.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so who do you guys think is going to win this thing?
I think the team with the biggest fro.
Oh, okay. That would be Duke. That's what he means. That's what he means.
Oh,
Now, who do you really think?
I'm pointing at you, bro.
I know. Who do you think's going to win?
Rob, you're on.
So it's hard for me because Kansas has looked really, really good the entire tournament. Sans that first half against Miami, but they outscored them some ridiculous by over 30, I think, in the second half. Insane. They looked really formidable. They do seem to have a penchant for falling at the end. They only have, I think Self only has that one title back when Memphis missed the free throws, Derek Love. And it just seems like Duke has the most talent on a roll. I think it's going to be Kansas and Duke in the final. And it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like you're going to get the Coach K send-off title. I think it's going to happen.
Killing you to say it, Rob.
I know. I mean, Kansas is tugging on me because what I saw, but I just think Duke survived any early potential mishap. They have the momentum now. Revenge factors at play. UNC is lucky to get out of that game against Baylor. They could have lost to UCLA, should have lost, really. Yeah. And I think they're due to drop. I mean, they had a tune-up game against St. Peter's. I think Duke's going to take that. In the biggest moment, Duke's going to beat Carolina.
Okay. What do I think? I think, well, you know what? They're rivals, and you never know in a rival game. I mean, Carolina could pull it off, but I'm leaning Duke. And then I'm leaning Kansas over Villanova, especially now that I think they would have beat them anyway, but now that the guards are, I'm picking Kansas. And then when they play each other, I think it's going to be like 79-77. I told my brother on the phone, but I think Kansas is going to pull it out somehow. They're tough. They go. I mean, both are going to be really fighting hard because Duke wants to win for the coach. Kansas is just playing out tough, and they want to win every game. They play hard. I'm leaning Kansas because they're bigger. I'm going to go Kansas. And hopefully, if I'm Kansas, I wouldn't want the game close because I know that way the rest can't skew it for Coach K. But I'm going Kansas. I'm going Kansas. I know you're going with Duke.
Well, okay. I'll come on, Rob. It's my turn. Okay.
You're on the spot, Tony.
Okay, I'm on the spot. Well, I'm going to give you one thing. I wish my brother Bob would get a haircut. That's number one.
Oh man, that's being cut.
Okay. Number two, I'm going to share this with you guys because this is something I don't think you've overlooked, but I'm going to remind you because I'm going to be kind on the show. I'm going to be a nice guy. Okay.
No, nice guys finish last, Tony. Be blunt and brazen on the show, please.
Well, one thing that has been overlooked, and I predicted Kansas to get into the Final Four, they were in the easiest bracket. They had the easiest games to win. And yes, they're very good and well coached, like I said. And get off the bandwagon about the refs, Bob, because Duke's winning this whole thing.
Get off the truth bandwagon, Rob. You heard it. Okay.
I didn't say truth. I said it ain't going to happen.
I did.
Yeah, because your team doesn't win. Because if your team doesn't win, it's always the refs or it's always something.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold it. You love Duke.
I'm not finished. So
you love Duke so much. I mean, you're saying I'm one way, but you're one way too.
Because I know.
Have you bought the ring for Coach K yet and married him? Is my question. Because you know what? You love it, and you don't want to hear anything else. Kind of like that's what women do. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm right, even if I'm not. No.
You didn't even.
The ref is helping them. That is a reality.
You didn't even let me finish because
I'm gonna let you finish. You attacked me, so I'm not letting that stuff go. No, wait a minute. You know what? That is not true because you love them. And one more thing, since you hit me for no reason, okay, I'm saying this. Now I'm sure Kansas is going to win because you picked Duke, and I know what your picks are like. Okay.
Yeah, but there's no more money on the line, Bob.
Kansas is right. Kansas is winning. And don't forget, Rob, we did pick the most right.
We did.
We did.
Hey, I apologize. I opened the show with an apology to both of you. You guys probably took some of my picks, and
we still were the ones that put it on the paper, so we have to own it too.
Right.
I mean, I thought Arizona won 30-something games. They hardly lost.
Right.
They were huge.
But here again, I didn't remind myself, how weak the Pac-12 was, especially the Bruins.
Because I didn't think they were going to go far. I said that in the beginning.
Especially
I thought the Pac-12 was really good this year.
Rob, when did you? Last year, the Pac-12 was a surprise conference, went really far. So everything carried over into this. But when have you ever heard me say that Mick Cronin is a great coach?
Oh, be careful.
No, you haven't. No, good. You said he's a good coach.
I have not put him in the class with the best. Okay.
I mean, until last year, he was first, second round loss every time the tournament.
Right. And that should have, Michigan State and Mike Izzo
right there.
They should have won that game. And right now, UCLA would be talking about looking for a new coach right now. Okay. Yeah, he probably would have got a pass because he made it to the Sweet 16 and then lost. Correct. Okay. But the man did nothing at Cincinnati in my mind. I always bring up the fact that Louisville was open two times, never hired him out of Cincinnati. Ohio State was open 3 times and never hired him. And now our AD was the associate AD overseeing men's basketball at Ohio State. Watch out, Mick Cronin. That's all I'm telling you. This guy can recruit all he wants, but I'll never, until he proves to me that he belongs in the elite class of coaches, he's an average coach. The Arizona coach has got to prove to me the same thing. I mean, okay, you can recruit, but recruiting and coaching are 2 different things. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at Kentucky and John Calipari. Year after year, this guy gets a number 1, number 2 class in America and bows out to 15s.
Yeah, we could probably get Kentucky in the Sweet 16, 3 of us.
Okay, so
that talent.
So we have 2 Dukes and a Kansas, basically.
I could win
2 Dukes and a Kansas. I think it's going to be the send-off. The send-off moment's going to happen.
Hey, Rob, I could take Kentucky and make them a national championship because I'm in another whole class. I'm in that elite class of coaches. So sorry, but just kidding, fellas.
So you can make the NEC Coach of the Year?
Yeah. Bob's going to crack on me any second now.
No, I'm not. You know what? Last night, just changing gear for a second, Giannis has officially the number 1 scorer for the Milwaukee Bucks over Jabbar. And they're saying, because he's better in this. And I was like, wait a minute. He would have never caught him if Jabbar was allowed to go right to the pros. This guy was so great, they changed the damn dunk rule. And he goes, he was a project, so he's better. Like, what does that mean? You know what? No, and he wasn't even with the Bucks all that long. Am I right? Because the day you signed with him, he left. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that to me, the stats they're coming up with and the stuff they're saying is just ridiculous. And I said, he's not better, and LeBron would have never caught him either. Because, by the way, LeBron played garbage time the other night just to get extra baskets so he can catch Jabbar, which is LeBron all the way. He's pathetic as a day is long.
Did the Fakers win?
They lost the game.
Fakers. That's a good one. Never heard that one before.
Anyway.
Tell them the Clippers.
I'm going sentimentally. I'm going to, Rob, I don't know if you know this, Rob, but I was there when John Wooden won his last game in San Diego. I was in the locker room. I walked out to the bus with him. And I'm going to share this story with you because of the way fans are and the way people are and the way the alumni are. We lost in 74. we had a great team. We should have won, but we lost. Okay. Give my props to North Carolina State. David Thompson was a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player. You know, they were good. We lost. We lost the game in overtime. It was our fault. We lost. Okay. We won in 1975. And after all the hoopla and everything, because it's nothing like today. I mean, you walk out of the arena, it's like you can walk into the locker room, people won't even stop you. But back then, okay. We were walking out to go to the bus to go back to the campus at UCLA. Two alumni walked up to Coach Wooden, slapped him on the back, said, "Way to go, Coach. You didn't let us down this time."
Right. After 7 years in a row winning it before.
Yeah, I mean, that's called being a spoiled brat fan.
Right.
I mean,
and
you never lost.
These two guys were alumni. And Coach turned to both Ducky and I as we were walking with him. And he said, "See, that's why I'm retiring, because the expectations have become so great that I can't keep anybody happy."
Well,
I mean, look how the story has played out. I mean, one title since and none in the past 27 years.
Well, that's right. And
I bet I wonder if those two alumni would change their tune, having fast forwarded through these decades. And
well, that's right. And you know, if Tyus
coming
had
anywhere
not
close,
if Tyus had not, he didn't make a pass, if he didn't throw that ball up and it hit the rim and bounced around and went in our second round game against Missouri, up in Boise, you know what? We wouldn't have a championship since 1975, Rob.
You know what? But I think what you're trying to.
That's how hard it is. Yeah. That's how hard it is to win this thing.
You know? Oh yeah, this is brutal. The tournament is brutal.
Well,
and you know what? Duke may go 25 years without winning it again.
Well, I think, yeah, that could happen. But you know what? I think.
And let me ask you, Rob. Excuse me, Bob. But let me ask you, and I know you know this, Rob, when was the last time Syracuse? How many years has it been?
It's been 19 years. And if you told me back then it'd be 19 years without a title, I would have laughed at your face. We'll win another one.
That's right. That's my point. Because every fan thought you were going to win it the next year, and then the next year.
Oh, I was fully expected a repeat. No doubt about it.
Next year, and then the next year. And you know what? It's been 19 years. You're going on 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, I think what you were trying to say, Anthony, is the fans, though, because I brought up, Giannis and Jabbar, and the fans are just pathetic no matter what, whether it's our fans back then or, these crazies that believe in all these stats and these guys are better, and they don't know anything. I mean, and a lot of them are writers. They're not even fans. They don't know either. Like, they don't get it.
And Bob, a lot of these people who are even announcers weren't even born then.
Right, exactly. Exactly. But they think they're the know-it-all.
They're not as old as you.
Or you, especially you. But I mean, anybody's that old. But anyway,
you're mean to me. Rob, he's mean to me.
Well, you see, he had to hit me.
You're both mean to each other.
No, Rob told me to get him back. He said, "Bob,
you got to get him back. You can't just take punches. You got to throw back."
Hey, but I'm like, I'm like Muhammad Ali. I can dance and weave and bob and weave, and I can do the Ali shuffle. He can never reach me, Rob.
Just channel your inner Tyson, Bob. Come on, Tyson.
Yes, one
rip that ear off.
Just one quick one. But you know what? The bottom line is the reason I brought it up is because it's the fans. That's what they're ridiculous, and
they don't know. They haven't been there. They don't know, Bob. They weren't even born.
No, and the state.
I have to thank both of you for allowing me onto your show. This is a wonderful show. I think we covered a lot. I think I really appreciate you including me because, it's pretty hard to get the elite on your show. So I'm sorry.
I'm just glad you want to come on. That's all that matters to us. And obviously the invite's open every show. Come on whenever you want. And, we can raise the elitist bar even higher the more you partake.
By the way, we're going to do the baseball show because baseball's coming up, and I'm going to try to talk around. I'm going to talk to Sosha, see if we can get Tori on, and hopefully Jeter, because I mean, if anybody can get Jeter on a story, so of course we want you on, any help that you can help us with, we appreciate that.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Call from wireless caller.
Yeah, I agree, so
Which phone is that? Ours or yours?
it's mine. Let me answer it.
Okay. But no, like I'm gonna
Hello?
talk to Gary Adams actually, and we're gonna
And we're gonna, we have to do our annual hockey playoff review show. That's coming up pretty
oh,
quick.
that's right. You guys want to come on, right?
Bring on the guys, Mr. E and E Kip. We'll
Right,
definitely
right.
get some hockey talk because it's gonna be. We're gonna blink our eyes. We're gonna blink our eyes, and the Final Four will be over.
Right.
I just put you on mute while you're on the phone, Tony. Something should pop up to let you back in.
Just push the button that says unmute.
Something should pop up. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I'm going to call him back in a minute too. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so tomorrow, like you said, Final Four is over, and Monday night, and then Tuesday we got to wait a whole nother year just to get to this point.
Yeah, and 5
God,
months to college football, and
right. Oh man, college football is great. I love college football.
No,
I do too. College football doesn't love me all the time, though.
I don't watch the NFL much. I mean, I just have to watch it a little bit, and I know who the best teams are. So,
the Dodgers made a trade today. Yeah, did you see it?
Who?
The Dodgers.
Did they get rid of Bellinger?
No, they got rid of Pollock.
Oh,
and they got Craig Campbell back, the closer. They need a closer. It was a good move, really.
Well,
they got enough hitting because they
ought to get rid of Bellinger. He has struck out in spring training 17 times in a row.
That's ridiculous.
There's something wrong with him. Something's wrong.
He needs you know what? Yeah, he needs an adjustment swing. He does. He's definitely.
Let's not give it to him. They got enough firepower in their lineup.
Well, I think that was a good move for him in a way. I like Pollock though.
Well, he was batting ninth in their lineup. Their lineup was like Murderer's Row of 1927.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But they needed a closer and they got one.
Who is the closer?
Craig Campbell. Remember him for the Braves?
Yeah. Wasn't he with Atlanta?
All those years. Yeah. But his last team was the White Sox, and now the Dodgers got him. So.
Oh yeah. But he's washed up now, so that's okay.
Well, they had to get somebody. They didn't have nobody in that back end.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I listen. I'm hoping there's another team in the National League who can rise above the Dodgers.
Well, the Mets have to hit, but they do have the number one pitching staff. They ranked them.
Yeah. Well, they need to get a number one hitting team.
I agree. And the Yankee fans are mad, and they're really going after Cashman now.
Well, they should.
Yep.
Because in my mind, I know what he did to Joe Torre. I know the way he treated Derek Jeter. And I am not a Cashman guy. I would, he could take his wife and his kids and his 2 girlfriends, and he can go away as far as I'm concerned. I have no respect for that man. So.
Well, I think
the proof's in the pudding. I mean, the Yankees haven't been the Yankees for a while since he's been there.
No, Papa George passed away, and they haven't been the same. And I think the son either needs to turn it over to his daughter, who's more like the dad, and doesn't care about the salary cap and the whatever, and go after some team players and start winning again, and bring back New York. We can play New York by Frank Sinatra every night after every win.
They do that anyway, even after a loss. They do that now.
Okay.
But no, I don't know. I mean, I think, honestly, I think that the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays, who supposedly really upgraded their staff because they can hit, one of those 2 teams are going to win the division, or possibly Tampa Bay, who just keeps surprising everybody every year.
Right.
But I think the Yankees are going to finish in 4th place. I don't think they're going to be that good. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah, they'll win 96, 97 games.
No, I don't think so this year. They changed their whole lineup around. And, everything. I mean, they got guys this year that half of them I don't even know who they are. So I don't know. I don't know. And they still haven't even paid Judge yet. So we'll see.
So I think the season starts in like 3 more weeks. End of April?
No, April 7th. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's starting that soon. Okay. So There we go. I mean, next week we can get a opening day show going.
The Dodgers open up on March 31st. What?
No. That was before the strike.
Oh, okay.
It's April 7th with the Yankees. I know it.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I got the Dodger schedule here. I don't know, but I'll have to look and see if they got a new one out. Yeah, they had a April 1st and March 31st opening games on the road. So, you know,
That was before the strike, and it pushed everything back.
okay. I hope that, I think the Dodgers this year will win 120 games. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot. You say, no, but don't win over 100, I would think.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody in that division is good enough to stop them.
No, not in that division. Are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen. We'll get an opening day show in, and we'll see if the Dodgers prophecy in terms of World Series victory plays out.
Well, Dave Roberts predicted if his pitching holds up that he's going to win the World Series this year.
He did say that, and he just got an extension. Congratulations for him.
Yeah, I congratulated him. So I sent him a text message.
Right.
I think that's quite a lot of pressure to put on your own club going into a long season like it is, to say we're going to win the World Series if my pitching holds up. That means the rest of those players have got to produce. That's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Because that gives motivation to the other teams to come in and play their best games or best series against you, just
Try to beat them. Yeah.
Just to beat you.
Right.
Yeah. But
So I have to check out of here, gentlemen. If you two want to keep the banner going, feel free. We can keep the show up, but I do got to take off.
No, I'll let you go. It's great to see you, Rob. Rob, where in Florida do you live?
So I'm staying in North Palm Beach, but right now I'm actually in Orlando.
Oh, okay. So are you going to make a permanent home there in Florida?
I'm an early bird snowbird already.
Okay.
I work remotely, so basically I can be here, and it's great. Best move ever.
Okay. I just
tell everyone else how awful it is, though, so they don't know.
Yeah, I was just wondering, where are the best places to live in Florida? Where?
I would say honestly, the Jupiter West Palm area is really nice.
Yeah, I heard Jupiter. Yeah,
and that's the East Coast, right, Rob?
That's the East Coast. Yeah, the West Coast is pretty nice too.
Yeah,
but I'm a little partial to the East Coast.
All right. Okay. Where's Amelia Island?
It's a good question. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, that's somewhere in Florida or off somewhere in Florida. I didn't know. But right now they're advertising it as the place to live.
That's the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a flood coming in right now. All right, guys. It was great having you again.
Thanks again.
Definitely come back on next week and all the shows after. And with that, signing off. Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
Good luck in the Final Four. Good luck on your picks.
We'll see what happens.
Go Duke.
I'm not going to say that, but I picked them to win.
Okay.
I'm going to call a few people for the baseball shows. So try to get them on.
And
get them on, Bob.
You know what? If it takes Duke and all the officials, if it takes 8 guys for Duke to win, I'm all for it. So,
hey, it's all about being right.
That's right. No, it's all about him going out on top forever because he deserves it. 42 years in one place.
He's one of the all-time greats, no question about it.
Yeah. All right.
Signing off for the Sports Show with Bob Spino. This is Rob. Take care, folks.
Bob, have a nice day, everybody.
Take care.